Hey everyone, it's time for art. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the cats that you did last week. They were awesome. Some of you did some incredible pieces of abstract art that were colorful, bright, and full of patterns. So thank you very much. This week we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at perspective. Specifically, we're going to be looking at falling for foreshortening. So what is foreshortening? Well, foreshortening is when we make certain parts of the body larger and certain parts smaller to show how someone is coming at you, coming closer to you, going further away. In this picture, it looks like she's falling, and you can actually see her falling away from you. How can we tell that? Well, the hands are much larger and the feet are much larger than the body and the head. And we know that relatively our hand is not that much bigger, but her hand is twice as big. Well, here is a good example. If I have my fist out here, you can see that I'm coming close to you. My fist looks massive. If anyone's watched cartoons or anime, you'll have seen examples where a superhero is flying and their fist is out in front of them and their head looks smaller. Well, that's to show that they're going and their fist is stretched out. It's not because they have a giant fist. They might. But in this picture, the hands and the feet are much bigger than usual. This tells us that she's falling away, or maybe she's falling towards us and her hands are out like this, like she doesn't want to land on you. Let's look at some other examples of foreshortening. So here are some examples, and like I said, cartoons, anime, and even pictures are great for examples of foreshortening. Here we can see that he's laying back, his feet are quite big, but that's to give the over-exaggerated effect that he's tall, he's laying, and he's far away from you. Here in this picture, again, the hand is close to the camera. Because obviously the camera didn't take this picture, but when you're drawing, you're thinking about your perspective as kind of like a camera. If you were to have the camera far away, all of this would be relatively the same size to normal, but because this artist wants the hand to be up close, the hand is much bigger than the head and much bigger than this other hand. Now, this isn't the easiest thing to do in the world. I understand that this is a challenging thing to do in art, but what I'm going to say with this is you can choose anything as far as you can choose any pose or anyone, or if you have a picture that you like, you can use that as an example. You don't have to make it look like this or any of these. You can make it look like your own as long as you're giving an example of foreshortening where one part of the body at least is bigger than the rest of the body. I really like that, where like a hand is reaching out. It's almost like I'm trying to grab your hand. But you can do it however you want to do it. Here, again, foot is much bigger than the head because the foot is meant to be closer to the camera. So, you can do this one if you'd like to, where you trace your shoes, but I don't think you'll all have enough big enough paper to trace your shoes and to trace your hands. So if you have big enough paper, you can trace your shoes and trace your hands and then draw yourself falling away. If you don't, you can do another type of picture where you show an example of foreshortening. So again, if you have paper that's big enough, maybe on your paper it's big enough for you to do one hand, and then you can do one hand and you can have something like this where you're like giving a high five, and that's fine. Maybe you want to do 1 foot and then it can look like you're doing a flying kick. Whatever you would like to choose to show perspective and foreshortening, it's up to you, as long as you give that example in your art. I'd really like these to be creative. think carefully about how you want to show the perspective, and have fun with it. I think it's going to be a really cool thing to see. I think you guys are going to give me some great examples. Have a look online if you're looking for more examples like these pictures. If you particularly want an action shot, maybe you can take a photo of yourself and then use that photo as a reference. Or you just want to draw around your hand and then draw yourself in the background, and it's like you're giving a big high five to me. You can do that. That's up to you. Have fun with this. Don't rush it. You have a whole week to do this, and I don't mind if you take the whole week to do it. Just enjoy time with art, relax, and have fun. Have a great week, guys. God bless you, and stay safe. Bye.